how I feel. I want to drive you through the night, down the hills. I gotta tell you something you don't want to.
I have a robot voice over here too. Hey everybody, it's a dark, chilly March 22nd evening. Around midnight tonight, the rain comes in and it does not stop until all day tomorrow. They say we're going to get about 4 inches of rain, which is always like 4 inches. What the sounds stupid. But apparently it's a lot of rain. Once you start getting into inches, okay? That's only when you're counting rain is 4 inches impressive. You know what I mean, Matt?
4 inches of rain is equivalent to 4 feet of snow.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that. Matt is here. Good to have him back. How you doing, Matt?
Hello, Francis.
I did not know. When did you learn that about rain and snow?
I've known it since I was a child.
These are things that evade me. I don't know. Like I say, it is very impressive amount of rainfall and that's what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow. We'll see just how crazy it's going to be. For tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the last broadcast night of the week, it is FLECCAS Friday. First time we're going to be talking to FLECCAS since the last time, which was in December when he came by, and we discussed the need to establish a FLECCAS Museum of the Insane, or whatever the hell it was, where he can keep all of the exhibits from our time right now, like the black wheelchair Santa and everything else that really is an indication of where we are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and culturally. Well, he's going to be coming back here tonight, and yeah, we'll be kicking around some news items. We'll be kicking around some things that are going on, but also I want to jump into this thread that not only have I been building for the last couple of days, but FLECCAS has retweeted into his corner of the internet. So we will see what you guys and gals have contributed to memory hold news items. That is news, headlines, things that have really, they carry a bit of intrigue with them, a bit of what you would believe to be importance, and then as soon as you hear about them, they're gone, or they're gone with little fanfare after something, whatever. We know why some things disappear. Like when a good guy with a gun shows up to stop a shooting with a crazy person with a gun. That's something that usually goes away. Or when the crazy person with a gun is of a certain demographic group, that usually goes away. Memory holds of no use to us. And then there's other things, and there's just a good old-fashioned cover-up. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of those tonight, because not only is 2024 a year of some incredible news stories that have already been relegated to the dustbin of history, but I also just want to see what you guys and gals remember from over the years. So it could be from last week, it could be from last century, it could be from last decade. It does not matter, and that is what I'm looking forward to tonight. And FLECCAS will be joining us soon. First thing I saw, Kate Middleton. All right, since we jumped in on this one.
Did they find her?
Yeah, well, they released a picture of her walking, or a video of her walking around with William, supposedly, and people are like, this is not her. She looks emaciated. Doesn't look right. Today, there is another big headline that's out there that's actually trumping all of the news out of Russia right now, which is ridiculous. But it's still, if it's all true, then it's sad that she was diagnosed with cancer, and she is now undergoing chemotherapy, and that's what they say that they've been holding back from, and what's being hidden, and that the cancer was discovered when she had that abdominal surgery back over the holidays. So.
Yeah, I was watching a video. I don't know who it was, but that's what they said, something like that.
You know, man, this is 2 cancer diagnoses now for the Royals in the last couple of months, and it's just odd, especially for everyday people who are always commenting on royal families, and we feel so disconnected from them. And there's a natural hierarchy in society and in the world order that obviously we're completely punching upward, and they're just looking down at us when it comes to just earthly geopolitics. But you also tend to think that, hey, these people would have access to all the cures for everything, that they would only ever die semi-natural deaths after long lives. And here you have, what is she? Is she even in her 40s yet?
Yeah, but she's married into it, though.
Yeah.
You know, that it's not...
Oh, so she wouldn't have privileges of...
Yeah, like her particular bloodline doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, her...
Unless was she royalty before she married him? No, right? She
I
was
don't-
a commoner, as they call them in
The rabble?
England.
No. The rabble. No. The other one. The American tourist brat, Meghan Markle. She's a member of the rabble.
I thought this one was a civilian before, too.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
I honestly, I don't know anything about the makeup there or lines of succession or whatever. It's just we did cover the missing headline, and now there's been successive updates to kind of put all this out there. So there's that. What else is there? Over the weekend on Saturday night, I'm going to re-premiere. I'm going to premiere the entire Megan Fox episode onto YouTube at night. Maybe the Collins Brothers episode on YouTube at night as well. I just got to remember if there's any mention of certain medical modalities, things like that. I just got to remember. But there's plenty that is scheduled to go on, Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube as far as shorts go. So we're just trying to create new rhythms here, and that's all I have to say on that. All right, here's a little bit more into the grab bag, and then we're going to start the show off. This one is this one just angered me a little bit, and also just made me scoff and laugh too. UN advisor says the white man has brought life as we know it to the verge of extinction, and that racial harmony. This one is good. This is really interesting right here. That racial harmony is a fallacy. A United Nations youth climate advisor has a history of social media posts that call for the destruction of capitalism, claim terrorism is used as a Western smear to justify its imperialism, and attack white people for purportedly fueling humanity's extinction vis-a-vis the climate crisis. Her Secretary General Antonio Guterres selected Pakistani American, hyphenated Pakistani American, Aisha Siddiqa as one of his advisors to help accelerate the implementation of his climate action agenda, a 2023 UN announcement stated. And then this Siddiqa, she's out there talking about how the white man has brought civilization to its knees.
She lives in Bangladesh. She's from Bangladesh.
Pakistan. And we want to talk about. I
guarantee they pollute more than us.
Oh yes. It's common to shit in the streets over there. I'm actually fine with what she said. Because I would love to start by sending this snake woman back to the harmonious brown paradise that is Pakistan. That's number one. And then let's get serious about setting some realistic living standards here, especially in America again. Where grades and merit and property ownership and citizenship and public decency are prioritized. I would love to live around anyone who can rise up to those standards. I don't care about their color or their shape. I don't care about anything. I just want to stop placating hateful little rats like this girl who's been given the privilege to hyphenate her place of origin in the world. Incredible. So, and speaking of citizenship, I had an email that was sent to me. Listen to this, especially Texas. Listen up. Hi, Frank. Texas SB 40, and if you don't know, Matt, this is what the that state bill that empowers state and local authorities to enforce the immigration law, since the feds are supporting the invasion. I just wanted to add my 2 cents regarding Texas law enforcement being able to arrest illegals. I'm married to a police officer who works in Dallas County. The police agencies have been informed that they are not to arrest any illegals, as they will not be prosecuted by the district attorney's office. Okay, it is Texas, and I know you say it's Dallas, it's a big city. It's right. That's what I'm saying. That there is really there's very few pure sanctuaries away from this madness, because wherever they congregate, this is what happens. Let's see here. I'm sure that the district attorneys in the other major liberal cities in Texas have put out the same info so they can pass all the laws they want to stem the flow of illegals, but it doesn't mean anything if they can't be enforced. If you read this on air, don't use my name, and I don't want this to come back on me or my family. Thanks for all that you do. And so yeah, you want to talk about federalism. So the federal government has completely abdicated, abandoned, and actually reversed its interest in border security. And when I say reversed its interest, it means they are interested in opening the border and making sure that we are the most unsecured and in danger place on earth right now. And that is one of those things where, okay, well, the feds are doing their thing, and now it's up to the sovereign states to do their thing. So here's Texas, one state of 4 on the border, that's doing a little something down there, and then going down in size through these Russian dolls over here are the liberal cities inside of the only state that is taking a little bit of action down there at the border. And the liberal cities are still saying to their police, you know what, I know that the state government is doing this, is doing that, but please don't make any arrests, because the DA is not going to go after anybody. So there's no uniform effort anywhere until the clean out has to be so thorough. It has to be so thorough at the smallest levels, at local government levels, regional. Then you go state. Forget about federal. I think the quickest that the states clean themselves up so they can just wholesale start ignoring the federal government, that is the only hope, if there is a hope at all, because this is incredible. So that's just that's coming in from Dallas police right there. The DA is telling the sheriff's department, I guess, don't even bother wasting your time, because they're not getting charged. So, and then over there in Russia, we've got, last I checked, at least 40 dead as a gunman opened fire at a Moscow concert hall. And supposedly, get this, ISIS has claimed responsibility for the attack.
They did.
ISIS. I don't... Listen.
ISIS in Russia.
ISIS. Now, I'm not...
Putin's going to be very angry.
Well, whatever that is, you know that the response is not going to be... It's not going to be with mittens on or kit gloves.
Does this get sympathy for Russia as far as the Ukrainian situation goes?
I don't know. I think anybody with a beating heart would look at this and say that's not good. It's not like, I mean, we're talking about grandparents and grandchildren who are just shot down in heaping piles of bodies. I'm telling you, just don't click through anything. Don't click through anything. The image, every day a new horror on the internet. I'm starting to think that I need to expand my Lenten promise of being more pleasant on the internet and actually find a time to... I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to take things completely out of my life without having to at least go on the internet I have to know. I have to know what I'm doing, because I'm telling you, there's nothing here. And this squatters shit, I'm telling you, dude. I feel like I'm waking up every 25 minutes checking the ring cams.
The last place I worked, there was a squatter in the apartment there.
I've got some things to bring out. I have some text messages that I was sharing with a friend of mine who does a lot of property management in the city, and ever since all the reporting, and especially all of the calls to action that, like, a lot of these, there's this one very popular video that went around the other day, but I'm sure there's many, many more. It's probably just through, word of mouth, not involving the internet. A lot of illegal immigrants, a lot of junkies, a lot of bums, just a lot of lowlives. They're getting the word out there that in America there is such thing as squatters' rights, and there are so many what they say abandoned houses. Houses that are for sale, houses that are owned. We're not talking about crack dens where it's dilapidated shanties. Yeah. We're talking about houses that are maybe passing through ownership, or somebody's trying to sell it, or Airbnbs. They're getting the word out, and there is a literal infestation that is happening right now.
Yeah, well, I've thought about doing it, but not like to a house that someone's living in, because it differs. It's different in each state. If you occupy it, and if you do pay the electric bill or whatever, I think in New York it's I don't know, maybe 7 years, maybe a little longer. If you do that, you legally own the house.
You thought about doing it? What are you
Not here, upstate where there's an abandoned farm or something. I'll just go fucking live there. I'll have all the power turned back on. I'll pay the bills. And in New York, it's 7 years. If you do that, then that's it. The house is your house. You own the house.
When you say abandoned farm, you're talking about a plot of land that has no owner.
That whoever owned it died, and it didn't belong to the bank, and no one ever came and seized it, or there's stuff like that.
I would be okay. I would be open at least.
Yeah.
For people walking onto land that has no owner, but maybe has some kind of a standing structure, especially in some rural area that you just go in there and you just start putting things together. You manage. I would be totally fine with it. That actually feels natural. I mean, yeah, I definitely don't care about paying property taxes.
Well, yeah, no, you just pay a power bill or something, and then if you continuously live there and occupy it and pay the bills for 7, maybe Connecticut is 7 years. No, I think Connecticut's 3 years.
Because we talk about squatting, and that is just it's an attack on private property. Property taxes is an attack on private property as well. That completely undercuts somebody's ability to own property, because if you don't pay those property taxes, the government's going to take it away. Why? Because they created the land, they created the soil and the streams. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, what we put up with and we think is normal. All right. Let's get this one started off, because Fleccas is going to be on with us in about 4 minutes. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a good one. And remember, we are jumping off at the intermission to QuiteFrankly.tv and Pilled. So plan ahead, because with Fleccas on, with Matt on, with it being Friday, there's plenty to talk about. It's a lot of fun. And all of these memory hold items, they have been submitted by you. I'll have a few to add in myself, but still, let's get this one started.
Go ahead, Watchtower.
This is the Joker speaking. You're tuned in Quite Frankly. When you see the ants, remove your pants.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
Okay. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to have you on. And remember, I would love to get a lot of your super chats on the read onto the air, go to quitefranklysuperchat.com. You want to know where it is? Where is it? Quitefranklysuperchat.com. Here it is. Flash your camera at that QR code. Bring you right to it. Go ahead. 5, 4, 3, 2. We'll keep this up a little bit every once in a while. So you can send that in, quitefranklysuperchat.com. Get your, especially when we get to memory hold items. I want to hear what you guys say on the fly. Okay, well, it's been a little bit of time. It's been since Christmas, but of course, time flies when you're having fun or when you're just dodging bullets, dodging howitzers, dodging nuclear bombs. And we've got our good buddy here, FLECCAS. FLECCAS Talks. It's Friday, and it's FLECCAS Friday again. How you been, man? You hear me, FLECCAS?
Hello?
Oh, it's still connecting audio. Shit, hold on. Just remember, he's in Florida. This takes a while. Wait a second.
Oh, yeah. It has
Oh,
to
here
travel.
he is. Now he's back. Everybody's favorite cultural commentator. Hello, Mr. FLECCAS Talks. How you been? Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh,
He's
no.
pretending to talk.
We don't hear you yet, FLECCAS. Just make sure you got the right microphone selected in your...
Look at that beard, man.
It's a majestic...
It's fucking glorious.
It is. It is glorious.
It looks like I traveled 500 miles to give you my seed.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see FLECCAS dressed up in a Civil War uniform.
Yeah.
Any side. You know what, FLECCAS, let me... how about this? Give me a call back. Sometimes just a calling back works. Hold on. Let's end the call and click right back in. Here you go. I'm going to end it for you. Sometimes this works. I don't know. Oh, I have a couple of stories I wanted to start, but I can't do it without him on because I think he'll be fun to... he had to have commented on it. Do you remember that? You remember that chick? Did you ever get the that story about the woman that worked at the police department? She banged everybody at the police department.
Yeah, the whore.
Yes, that one. She just got awarded $500,000
For what, being a whore?
She's the victim of apparently.
Of what? Whoring?
She's
a victim.
Yeah.
She was married.
I know that this gets nuts. Let's see if he's here now. Hold on. It's FLECCAS. It's connecting the audio. You hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, there you. I'm telling you,
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes with the Zoom, I don't know why, but just calling people back works. How the hell you been, man? It's been since Christmas time. Everything well?
Yeah, everything's good. I think I had like a frayed wire. Maybe that could have been it.
Well, you sound all right. Do you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Great. What's new with you guys? How goes? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's fine. How's your mom doing?
She's good. She's going to be probably watching this tomorrow, probably. I don't think she's a live viewer, but she always catches up. So I'm excited for her to see it.
Yeah, well, I hope that she's not... has she had any problem with these damn squatters up here at all?
Not yet, but I think that next year she's going to be living in Florida for part of the year and going back. So it's going to be the first time the house I grew up in is going to be open for a few months. But I think we're going to have like a house sitter because of the squattering issues.
Absolutely. It's getting bad. I mean, every time that this was mentioned months ago, I would cover it because it seemed like one of those things where you'd have to expect was going to get worse. And now the last couple of weeks, we're getting things like there's this woman that was murdered in New York. Her name was, I forget what her name was.
A squatter?
2 squatters that she went in on, that she moved in on, like in her house or whatever. She found them there. They beat her to death and stuffed her into a duffel bag. Yes, and now they fled. They fled New York and all that stuff.
I'm gonna start a business. If you got squatters, we'll come. We'll get them out for you, one way or the fucking other.
That's like what I was thinking initially. It's like if it's a free for all and the squatters are in the house, maybe I'm a squatter now, and I'm not such a fun roommate to be with.
No, that's it. As long as you're not the homeowner, because that's the whole problem. The problem is that when a homeowner, like that girl from Queens that we were reading about the other day, When she went in, there's these two lowlives that were in there and their lowlife girlfriend. They were in there, and she got them out. And the moment she changed the locks on her own house, she got arrested. So I guess if it's not your house, maybe you can go in there and cause some shit. Then it's just.
And that house was $1 million too. It wasn't like it was some rundown thing. It was like a nice, big single family house. I think we covered that on the show today. And yeah, once she changes the locks, now you're arrested. That was one of the craziest ones. And then I think the illegals are picking up to it too, because there's that Venezuelan guy who's going viral. He went viral last week for showing his kid and saying, "This is my meal ticket in America because I have this baby. They give me free food and free housing." He was saying that him and some of his African friends, is what he called them, he said that they just discovered that you can seize houses that are uninhabited, and they kind of just realized that, and they have 7 together as a group. And then I think right now there's 1,200 in Atlanta only. There's 1,200 houses with squatters in them.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, this is not just a blue state kind of a thing. Obviously, it could be a city kind of a thing. Any city in any red state is going to be blue leaning. So it's incredible suicidal behavior. And you can say, well, it's stupid, but it's not if you were in the business of deterring people from owning property and you want to put an end to private property ownership. We saw this with all the gobbling up of the family homes during COVID. That was nuts. Listen to this, Fleckas. I have a friend of mine. His name is Mr. B, and he manages properties down in New York City. So I got in touch. He got in touch with me about how bad the squatting is getting just because of the news coverage alone now. It's not a deterrent. It's actually emboldening people. It's like this. I got a text message yesterday around 1 p.m. He said, "Frank, I'm getting dozens of squatters now." I said, "Because of the news? Just like it just happened recently?" He said, "I keep getting calls from my supers about different people entering the buildings and apartments. Tenants will call up saying that they lost their keys in order to give them new tenants. It's overwhelming and it's just gaining momentum." And I said, what is this, for like roommates or something? He said, no, some people just move in, but other people are actually giving their apartments to people. They'll go and they'll live elsewhere and they'll collect cash from these others. So he told me that his boss wanted him to go on knock on squatters' doors the other day and demand ID. He said, "No, hell no, I'm not doing that." And I said, "Good," because the mental makeup. Did you and Rat Boy talk about this when you discussed this situation? The mental makeup for of a person that is willing to do this. It has to be a person that is willing to literally do anything, because it is so beyond the pale.
It's like someone who's homeless but a little more capable, and then a little more like cutthroat and conniving, willing to kind of exploit. Like homeless people will just sleep on a bench or sleep in the subway. Like these people kind of know the system, so they kind of have like that street rat backbone to them. It's a certain type of criminal for sure, and they know the rules are on their side and they can't really be like dragged out. So you're basically like, if you go there to confront them, it's either going to get escalated or you're going to leave and they're going to stay. It's like there's no real way to like go and confront and get them out, and they kind of know that now, which is no brains.
I'll be able to get them out.
Well,
Show up with a couple Rottweilers, give them a choice. You can leave, you can walk away, or you can get dragged out by the dogs.
Dude, I already said that it is beyond time now for the old Bronx Tale treatment to get the bikers out of the bar. It's beyond that. And here's the other thing: this is really funny. It's funny. It's awesome, and it's also very typical, because especially over the 4 years that I was in high school, I came to know a lot of Albanians, and I know how Albanians work. Okay, My buddy said that when the Albanians buy any building in New York, they get everybody out in a week. I said, "Oh, dude, you don't even have to tell me. I love Albanians." He goes, No, they don't care about the law. They'll knock on the door. They'll tell these people they have 12 hours or else they're going to lose their legs. And I said, yes, I fucking love that. Oh, I love the sound of that. It feels great, man. Oh, it's sad. It's sad that you hear things like that and you start getting pumped.
Because there's more honor in that and someone just like squatting. I mean,
I know.
That Bronx Tale shit, that's gone. That's the new values. It's not that. Now it's squatting, and that's the new Bronx Tales value. Squatting.
The bum.
And there used to be a time too where like these conflicts people would have with like a squatter type, it would get dealt with, and then like common sense and the law would be like kind of running parallel and on like the same page. And now it's like if you talk to a cop from like 1995 and they came to your house and you said, hey, I own this house, this guy just walked in, he's living in here, get him out. The guy would go, all right, you out of here, and it would just be dealt with. And now we have like this weird thing where common sense and the law are not on the same page, and then the police become enforcers of not the law. And same with the border too. Like border years ago, like if people were rushing the border patrol would be like, oh, stop, this is not happening. Now it's like the border patrol are agents to get the people in more efficiently. Like everything just kind of fully flipped on its head out of nowhere. And back in the day when you could like have a common sense cop or something, or a common sense border agent that could just like use their discretion, and it's like almost as a human element, like use their discretion on what's the best in the situation, and the law is pretty much on their side and on the side of their discretion. Now you have those same people enforcing like the opposite of the law and like enforcing it to side with the criminals. It's actually like very dystopian, I guess is the word for it.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the email that I read before you came on the air. We have a person that married is
the Dallas Border Patrol.
Yeah, well, no, a Dallas cop, just a cop.
Dallas cop.
So yeah, I mean, it's already past Border Patrol's. They've already processed them at that point. Like you said, it's not about repelling invasion. It's about processing asylum seekers. So. You're at war with terms and just it's all a mind fuck, because it's just we all see an invasion here. We see angry, flailing men who are rushing the border, flipping everybody the bird, and talking about how there's homes that are, free real estate, the free real estate meme all over the place, and they have the nerve of saying, the people are just so ignorant. Don't they know anything about asylum seeking? Asylum from what? It's incredible. People from 10 countries away are walking across continents to pick us. Asylum is just like, you got to go to the next door and knock on it. Everybody's coming from hundreds of thousands of miles. We're talking about galaxies away to come here for some reason. Oh my God. It's just nuts. Here, listen to this, Fleccas. You remember that Tennessee police officer who had sex with like most of the police officers on staff? Did you hear about this story? The payout?
$500K?
Dude, Matt, listen to this. She settled a lawsuit for $500,000. Megan Hall, she said that she was groomed by male police officers, and she sued the city that she was working in. She allegedly hooked up with multiple colleagues, second base, third base, home runs, grand slams, all around, threesomes, you name it.
Multiple games at once.
So wait, so they all groomed her, or just one of them groomed her and turned her into a complete whore?
They're all. She was a choir girl before she came to the police department.
Probably a virgin when she got married.
Exactly. She was a choir girl when she came to the police department, but they groomed her into what she was. She blamed her actions on a troubled marriage and the police department. The board of mayor and aldermen voted to authorize the mayor to sign a settlement agreement between the city and the former police officer. The city insurance provider will pay the sum of $500,000 as a gross settlement, which includes court costs, attorney fees, and expenses. You can't retire on that, Fleccas, but geez Louise.
Take a few years off at least.
You never see a guy make $500,000 from being a whore.
We try so hard. Nobody cares.
Or imagine a guy using that excuse, even like, "Oh, I was groomed by the other guys at work," and it's like never would happen. And then you use that excuse as a lady, but then you also are able to, on the other hand, say like, "We need more lady cops. Women are just as capable as men." we'll get rid of the physical requirement, but like on one hand they're just as capable and respectable as male cops, but on the other hand it's like, oh, she was just a girl and these guys groomed her.
Oh, I know.
Crazy.
And to say that, to be like the only girl at the police department, to essentially say that, oh man, well, all the guys there made me just so horny. It was their fault. And then, like you said, you can't turn that around and say, man, all my male colleagues are just talking about sex all day, making me into a deviant over here. It just doesn't work. And but it worked for her, and that's I guess that's equality for you.
Like back in the day, the common sense thing would have came up and have been like, you want 500 grand for that? Like, nah, you're fired. Next, like, what's the next thing on the agenda? But now, because everything doesn't make sense anymore and can't make sense.
Oh, I know. Yeah, like you were talking about Border Patrol in like 1995 or 1997, or a cop in 95, 97. Anybody down there in El Paso in the mid 90s would have at least brought out a water cannon to repel these people. This what the hell's going on down there? It's but I guess looking back to the past and comparing where we are right now is becoming less and less helpful by the day. We understand that things are going sideways, and it's for a reason. But let's talk about other things. We both.
Frank, can I add one last thing?
Please add 3.
In New York, the male refugees or migrants, whatever they're calling them, they only have 30 days. If you're with a family, they'll give you shelter for longer. But if you're a single man, you only have 30 days, and then you have to be out of the shelters. And they're not allowed to work. So a lot of these guys who are here have 30-day wristbands, are allowed to live there for 30 days. And then at the end, they get dumped onto the street with no money. They usually, a lot of cases, they spend all the money they had to get to America in the first place. So they're kind of like pot committed to the American dream or whatever they got pitched to them. But a lot of these guys are going to be on the street, third world people on the street. They're going to click up probably. And I think the home invasion chart's going to go like that, unfortunately.
That's what I'm telling you. I mean, we're 35 miles away from the city over here. I wish we were 300 miles away from the city.
Well, that don't matter. They flew all of them into Westchester Airport a couple years ago. You think that stopped?
I know. You're 100% right.
They probably stopped flying them in. They probably started busing them in.
Well, they fly them in, and then they bus them from there to Costco down the street, and then from there they're dispersed into Westchester County. I mean, we're getting oversaturated here. And I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's a healthy sense of paranoia. There's definitely knots in my stomach. I feel like I'm waking up every half hour to check the ring cams, to make sure the knives and the shotguns are exactly in the most strategic places. I know it's been, well, we're lucky to have things be very quiet around us, but still, the fact that we're within 100 miles of a major staging ground of a national invasion, we cannot categorize this as anything else. It's one of many places right now, but it's a major staging ground. So it's nuts. And Fleccas, to your point, I think that a whole bunch of those gangs are already forming, the pickpocket gangs and whatever. Oh, I mean, I'm sure that home invasions will be next, though who's going to report on it?
Yeah, and then also like another kind of overarching theme I've noticed is like in the beginning, remember in like 2017, 2018, like the left would always call the right like xenophobic when we try to do the Muslim ban or whatever at the airports, and everyone would say, "Oh, you're xenophobic. You hate outsiders. You're scared of immigrants," or whatever their talking points were. And they kind of like, and we would always be like, "What are you talking about? Like that's not the case at all. We just have certain standards, and people aren't compatible." And now they actually like they were kind of gaslighting us, but now we're at the point where you look and see like someone who's clearly from a different country or some country in Africa or something, they just got here, and you kind of give them a look like, all right, what's this guy up to? And you're suspicious of them. So they almost like made us the monsters they said we were before we actually were.
Yes.
It's the same thing with like DEI too. It's like, oh, you don't want DEI because you don't want to see a black person fly an airplane. And it's like, no, that's not the case at all. But then that DEI means they're not going to hold people to the same standards, and they're going to let some people go through and take some people down. And then you see a black pilot, and then you're kind of like, does this guy know how to actually fly an airplane? So they make you it's like a roundabout way to get to the end goal of like, oh, the right wing's racist. They don't want to see black pilots. But now I'm actually suspicious of black pilots because I know there's less standards than there used to be.
I'm glad you said it. And I've been saying the same thing. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're trying to bring that about. It's the same reason why you see things. Probably the way that the reason why people were rushing the front gates of the White House during the Trump administration, especially during 2020. If there could only just be some situations where they can have the Trump administration gunning somebody down. They never got that. If there could be any situation where they can get some women and children killed at the border, rushing the border and all of a sudden getting, repelled by lethal force or even active denial systems, something that went wrong or whatever. They are always setting people up to be the xenophobes, the racists, everything. They need to create a situation where they can produce data for everything that they've only had to lie about being the case up until now. You're 100% true. And that's actually been the biggest criticism from black and white people since the beginning of affirmative action. It's like, all right, so now I go see my black physician, and I'm going to, in the back of my head, I'm going to wonder whether or not if my doctor was pushed through or had some kind of a standard that was lower than somebody else, when perhaps they were the top of their class and they earned every bit of it. They are the most racist, horrible people on earth, I'm telling you.
I guess Asian doctors is a safe haven because if they still made it through even after, and same with like white doctors, I guess, like Asian and white younger doctors, that they really had to be actually good because they didn't get their spots lost to someone else.
I will take it. Yeah, give me the Asian doctors, because they're always overachieving, number one, and now number two, they're doing so well in the new world that they're being considered white. And so they're doing better than white people. Oh man! So over the weekend, I started thinking about the concept of memory hold news, because there's a lot of craziness here. I'm going to give you a few things. Here are just some of the things from where the hell is this? Is just 2024. Let's think about January. Miami shadow aliens. You remember the aliens in Miami? All of the hundreds of cops that went down there. They said that there's 10-foot tall Nephilim all over the place. Gone. Large batches of Epstein documents unsealed. We get that every couple of months. Let's see here. The Arizona RNC official caught bribing Carrie Lake. This is all just from this year that we pulled together. But I want to open this up to the last however many decades. 3 U.S. troops killed in Jordan. In February, we got King Charles diagnosis, but I don't think that was really memory hold. I think that's actually, the royals are still in focus with us, in major focus right now. But whatchamacallit, that's when we had all of the tunnels, the Jewish tunnels in New York. That just kind of went away. Who the hell else knows? Right now, we just had the Haitian government collapse, cannibals eating people in the streets, the Boeing whistleblower. But what I wanted to bring up with you guys, and Fleccas, I don't know if you have your retweet over there with you so you can read some of your people's stuff. I would love to just start talking about memory hold news, because especially since I was watching a lot on TWA 800, which I think it would be the big one for me right now because it's so fresh in my mind. There's got to be so much out there. So I don't know where you want to start with this. Fleccas, let's go with you. First of all, anything in your mind, anything that you always wonder, whatever the hell happened to that? It doesn't have to be anything geopolitical. It could just be like, what the hell happened to that? And if not, then go right to something from your audience.
Yep, I have a couple here. One is more political. This is like a top 5 memory hole of all time, in my opinion. Obviously, Building 7.
Oh,
that's such a easy, good one, and it's so visible. All the source documents for that event were videos, so you saw it. And that was one of the first times that something like that happened. I actually have a lighthearted one to start with. The Comedy Central roasts.
Yeah.
Those kind of got memory hold. You don't see any clips from them because it comes from a time when culture was not how they want culture to be now. But those roasts, I watched one the other day. They go so hard. They make the Jewish jokes, black jokes, like the craziest stuff you've ever heard. The most like offensive thing that could be said. They really, that was like they'd had 100 of those, and that type of humor is so far gone right now.
You've got to remember. I know you remember this. I know both of you do, and I've said this for a while. This would actually help cure the world. And I don't know who the hell has to go and make this happen, whether it's Colin Quinn himself or somebody, but Tough Crowd. You cannot find anything but obscure, small little clips of Colin Quinn's Tough Crowd. The people that they brought in on those couches, the comedians from Patrice O'Neill it was everybody. And you want to talk about going hard, just like those roasts. That was such an amazing show, and everybody got it equally. And it is just so hard to find anything from that. I don't know. If there was a box set, DVD, I don't care. VHS, I would still buy it right now. I'd buy myself a VHS player just to watch that shit again and then digitize it for the world. But I'm with you on that. Those roasts, and I would add Tough Crowd onto that list.
Yeah. Also for the, remember the Maxine? The Maxine documents came out, and they were supposed to come out in 80 years, but they ended up coming out like a couple months later, and they were talking about some of the not so good parts of the Maxine.
Yes.
So that was one too, but we probably can't go too deep into that.
Yeah, 75 years they wanted.
Yeah.
And then we started getting in dribs and drabs, and the first 12 pages from like only like it was like the first 12 pages is like, whoa, spontaneous abortion. It's just crazy. Actually, that's incredible right there. How much more have we gotten? Was it court ordered that the rest should come out quicker, or is it still that 75 still the standard?
I don't know. I just know we got those little leaks of it.
I know, and they're terrible.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, that's
monkeypox went away pretty fast. That was a good one.
No,
they kind of had a problem there, and then it was just kind of actually no more monkeypox.
No more monkeypox. They gave people a shot, and then the UN, the WHO came in to correct the name of monkeypox because they believed that it was very racist. So now, actually, you saying monkeypox is a retrograde, offensive medical term. It is actually called mpox.
And it's so funny that they say, "Oh, it's racist." It's like, can you explain it? Can you explain it to me? Because I wasn't making any connection, and then you have to go out of your way to say like why it's racist, and then it's almost like, well, this right here, that conversation might be the problem. Waukesha Christmas Parade. Remember the guy drove into the people? That went away as fast as possible.
Yep.
That was a good one.
It was the car's fault.
Yeah.
I think that I watched that guy's trial because he represented himself.
I saw a little bit of that too.
Oh yeah, he was a crazy guy.
Yeah, real
nuts.
cuckoo.
He was nuts.
Yeah.
That was last year or 2022?
My timeline's
that was
all fucked up.
2022.
Okay. The trial or the tragedy?
Oh. But the incident itself, I believe, was 2020. Maybe it was 2021.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, that's another one. Okay. All right.
The ozone layer from back in the day.
Oh. Yeah.
The ozone layer, and you can't spray the spray cans.
It grew back.
Because it eats the ozone layer, and then there's like a huge circle going around as zapping people.
Yeah, we were wondering whether or not we were going to be in the eye of the circle, the hole in the ozone layer. I remember that. I remember getting that from like 1990 in kindergarten until about 1992, 93. Then all of a sudden, the hole in the ozone layer, nobody talked about it anymore. Just like crop circles. Crop circles were huge in the 90s, and I'm sure they still happen somewhere. And I'm sure 95% of them are still completely local hoaxes or whatever, but gone are crop circles from all over the place. And you would think that there would be a little bit of crop circles in the news, especially since December 2017, UFO soft disclosure has been so huge. No crop circles.
Crop circles is a good one. Stop Asian hate. That only lasted like a month because they kind of had a problem with who was doing all the Asian hating.
It's true.
It wasn't good for them to look. It wasn't good for them to be like, oh, we caught the guys. Here they are. We keep letting them go, and they keep doing it.
Yeah,
so they didn't really have a good like narrative spin for that, so they just dropped it.
It was all their competition in pre-med school. It's all the pre-med competition.
Yeah, that's why they were so mad. Oh.
I could have been top of my class.
There was like a story this year, no, it was last year, I guess, where the pilot got ejected from his plane, and then like the plane was never recovered, and we thought China stole it.
Whoa!
It was like a fighter jet pilot. He got ejected at like full speed, and then the plane, I think, wasn't recovered. It may have just crashed, but I thought the whole thing was like the plane never got brought back.
It was
China stole it.
It was one of those F-35s, right?
I think so. And that was when it was like another F-35 incident happened where it was an unmanned plane maybe that went rogue or they lost control of it. But we had some F-35 problems like a year ago that we kind of never got a resolution on.
Yeah, no, I remember this. I had a couple here. I'm going to throw a couple more. Here's some from my audience. The Nashville Christmas bombing. You remember the one like with the mail right outside the post office, something like that? It was in Nashville. It was Christmas morning. Blew the hell up. There were so many things that were going on around that one. Maybe 2 days worth of headlines, and just gone. You don't hear anything about it. You have this: the Brooklyn Metro mass shooting. This one's from Juliet is lurking. The Miami Mall aliens. We're talking about that. Maui. Still so much. I know people in Maui still try to get some information out, but the interest has just. I hate to say it, but it just dies down because they match tragedy so quickly, and you get pulled to the next lily pad, and you're just jumping from one foot to the next. You can't even digest something for too much longer. But there were so many missing people and children that were reported out there in Maui, and we never got anything out of it. We did get some really interesting thoughts about the blue objects, though.
Yeah, even from Joe Biden himself.
Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, did you hear him? He did that twice where he kind of was like going off the cuff and said, oh, those houses with the blue roof.
I know.
Do you think that someone told him that that's what happened? Or like, oh, sir, there's a conspiracy that if you have the blue roof, and then he just heard it and repeated it? Like,
if you were to give me those two options, knowing his level of his mental capacity at this point, I could only ever think that it was a slip of something that somebody told him that he probably should not have said anything about. Because I don't really, I can't reward him the capacity for that kind of, quip. The humor to be able to go and pull that out and kind of taunt conspiracy theory. I don't, unless it was written down for him, which it wasn't. It was just kind of ad-libbed and weird, so.
Not written down, and then, his handlers are going, oh,
yeah.
Stop.
Please. Las Vegas shooting.
Yep, that's a big one.
That it was literally just stop asking us, we don't know. 1 year later, the FBI said we'll never know why this happened. It just literally stop asking us. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. And then what was like the extent of the footage that was released? It was like casinos are the most surveilled place maybe in the whole country, and then you get like one shot of him in the elevator maybe with the trolley and the bags. Like, is that all we got from that?
Yeah, that's all we got officially.
When they breached the door, I saw footage of that too. And then the guy went on Ellen and left. Yeah, they memory hold that pretty good.
Yeah, the Ellen DeGeneres bit, that was absolutely ridiculous.
What do you mean, Ellen DeGeneres bit?
The security guard. The security guard, you remember he disappeared for God knows how long. Everybody was trying to find the security guard that had either had confronted Stephen, what's his name, Paddock?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever the hell, they were putting so much emphasis on the security guard's role in the shooting or the timeline of events of the shooting, and of course he granted one interview only. It was on Ellen DeGeneres before she was, shoved out of the public eye, and then away he went again. And from there, it was nothing but weird stuff with Paddock's brother coming out saying that this definitely wasn't him. Then they planted child porn on Paddock's brother's thing. The whole entire incident boiled down to bump stocks. Though there was so much weirdness around that. It reeked of weapons deal. It reeked of so much, and we'll never know. Never know. Here's another one. Shinzo Abe's assassination in 2022.
Yeah.
That's a really big one. That was like one day of coverage.
Seriously, that was a holy shit.
Yeah.
Abe, the guy that Trump fed the fish with, he's dead. And then that was just the last of it. Perhaps there was a little bit more intimate coverage in Japan. Maybe somebody can expand on it. But over here in the States, there was really nothing, and that was caught on tape. That was weird. Okay, let's see here. Waukeshaw's in here. Fleckas, you have anything else?
On the 6th of January, the president made a video saying "Remain peaceful and go home," and that got as unseen as possible.
Yeah,
because that's like the whole thing is like you can just play that video and go, well, there's no insurrection. Here's him on a public platform to his whole audience that he's been talking to all day, saying, "Hey guys, respect the police, get out of here." So that was as memory hold as possible.
No doubt about it. There's a lot memory hold. I mean, even more too when you see what was just uncovered with Liz Cheney and other members on that committee. Just hiding exonerating evidence, squirreling things away. Every time that there was another phony investigation that Adam Schiff or somebody was leading, it was always anonymous whistleblowers, people, a campaign of whispers, things, it's sensitive information that are being put together in a skiff. Nobody should know anything about it. I wouldn't say that that's memory hold. I would say that was just never... There's never anything of substance to begin with. It's just always, I don't know. There's so many levels of chicanery here that's going on. There's another one. Let's see here. This is a good one. After Maxine was rolled out, there were stories from the audience about people that they knew who had complete and sudden personality changes. I remember that. I remember that. So listen, my so-and-so, my uncle, my brother, my parents, that there was quick, we're not talking about sore arms. We're not talking about, flu-like symptoms or anything like that. We're talking about they seemed like the light of God had been just squeezed out of them. And this person, Marcia, actually wonders if any of those people were ever recovered or got back to normal, or were the changes permanent. I would love to get some follow-up on that. That's right. That's a good one.
I never even heard that. I heard about it when it initially happened, but yeah, I'd like to know. Same with people who lost taste. Like my brother-in-law lost taste for like over a year. I wonder if he can taste anymore now.
I hope so, because that's like half of life's main enjoyment is eating stuff.
It's so true.
Yeah, oh, man. Another person over here, the Jewish tunnels. Some of the imagery coming out of that one was wild, and poof, no answers. No one talks about it. And then, this is a big one. The missing fertilizer from the train derailment.
Oh, yeah. That whole train derailment in general.
That was early last year. We're talking here. I got this, got a link over here from them too. New York Times, 30 tons of explosive chemicals lost during a rail shipment, not a derailment. Ammonium nitrate, relatively harmless by itself, but has caused deadly explosions in industrial accidents and has been used in targeted attacks. 30 tons. Never heard another damn thing about this. It just disappeared. This is a massive shipment of stuff. Where the hell does it go? You can only, if it's only on the train tracks. I mean, it's like where do you go? You can't go off-roading with this thing. It's on tracks.
Yeah, how do you even have the capability of like pulling that job off? It's like a derailed train that you're gonna get to and then unload. I don't even. And then it's the same thing of like we've seen in the past, where then there'll be some terrorist attack in the next 5 years. They'll use a ton of that, and maybe people won't make the connection.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll only have needed one of the 30 tons in that respect. Fleccas, you want to do one more before we go to intermission?
Gay Senate sex tape.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I'm doing my part in rewatching it every day to make sure they don't memory hole that from me.
I just want to make sure that nobody forgets
Who's
that.
gonna memory hole that? I watch it every day.
He's doing hard, dirty work for us all. Thank you, Fleccas. Wow. You know, that is just, it's incredible because you're right. It is such a moment of complete desecration on such the supposedly hallowed grounds. I mean, January 6th, you remember, ladies and gentlemen, January 6th was...
Yeah. They desecrated hallowed grounds.
They desecrated hallowed grounds over there at the Capitol. But, butt sex in the Senate chambers.
Disgusting.
Yeah, and it led to what? It led to the revelation, very subtle revelation, that this was, I mean, who knows if it was some kind of, I think he had some kind of backwards, what was considered backwards opinions on the Palestine-Israel situation and the relations between those two people. So I think that some people thought that this was released as revenge, but whether or not it was released as revenge or held up to kind of BTFO him and get him out of the situation, the fact that this was recorded for the purpose of being shared in a private Discord or whatever the hell it was of gay Capitol Hill staffers that only share sex-related stuff. I don't know if they're just doing dare. Hey, where can you have sex next on Capitol Hill? But I mean, they reference a network, a social media group of people who are recording themselves in sexually compromising positions and sharing it with each other. That's like that's incredible that everybody just glossed over that.
Yeah, glossed over it, and then you don't know. I don't know any of the people's names that were involved. I don't know who they worked for. I'm sure the info's out there, but like you'd think something like that would be all over the place. If it was obviously a right-wing person, you'd know it was so-and-so's office. He's stepping down. Everyone got fired. But this was just some twinks going crazy on each other.
I know. Yeah, there you have it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have Fleccas stay on with us for another couple of minutes on the other side of the intermission. We have so much more, and then we're going to take your calls. What the hell has been memory hold and any other Friday thoughts that you may have? Fleccas, I'm going to put you on mute real quick. You enjoy yourself. You have about 2 minutes to, I don't know, stretch. Watch that Senate video again. Make sure make sure everything's in the right place, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, everybody. QuiteFrankly.tv or pilled.net. We will be right back.
The rest of the show is available exclusively at pilled.net. Follow the link in the
let's go watch
description
that
of
video.
the episode, get signed up, it's that easy. Or head on over to QuiteFrankly.tv, just press play. No paywalls, no censorship, no strings attached. So head on over, QuiteFrankly.tv, powered by Foxhole, and pilled.net.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to intermission.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, intermission.
entering, quite frankly.
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 We all support quite frankly.
Not quite.
Quite frankly.
Let's go, Brandon.
Quite frankly. And